This week on ACTV News, John McCormick talks to senior Megan Cook about the internship process here at Assumption. ACTV learns more about the new study areas in Plourde. ACTV News starts right now.
Welcome to ACTV. I'm Kylie Thomas.
And I'm Chris Van Camp. As the midpoint of the semester approaches, our very own John McCormick got a chance to catch up with seniors who are currently participating in semester-long internships. John?
Chris, this week I sat down with Senior Human Services major Megan Cook to discuss the 400-hour internship.
I work with children and adults who have severe autism.
For her senior internship requirement, Megan Cook works at the New England Center for Children. Cook says her internship allows her to work hands-on with both adults and children with autism.
I work with men 16 to 22, and they're great. I learn something new every day. The experience is awesome.
Cook was able to get her internship through Assumption with the help of clinical coordinator Susan Sibeli. Before the semester begins, Sibeli meets with each senior human services major to discuss what type of internship they would like.
I got my internship through Assumption. They help all the human services majors kind of like navigate their way through the process. Susan Sibeli helped me a lot, and she showed me the New England Center for Children.
What have they done in the past? Have they had other experiences with populations, types of agencies? Do they have a specific profession they're interested in exploring? Is there a site that they'd rather be in an educational setting or a nonprofit setting? We even have some students who want to do something a little more administrative, and I have settings for that. And then after we've discussed those things for a while, then I say, okay, these are the kinds of places that I think might address the interests you have. Let's start phoning them. Let's prioritize.
Sibeli says the 400-hour internship is one of the most beneficial requirements for the human services major.
This is the best way to really get our students prepared for what they're going to be doing when they get out of here. Their skill classes and interviewing techniques, case management, they're bringing those skills into those settings, and they're getting to do things that most people would never get a chance to do as an undergraduate.
Cook says her biggest piece of advice for underclassmen thinking about an internship is to make sure you do something you love.
Do something you love and that you think you're interested in. For me, that's been huge, because if you do something you're not so sure about, you're going to be spending a lot of your day there, a lot of hours there. But if you do something you think that like a route you want to take, and you end up loving it, then you'll go in every day. And even though it's 400 hours and it's a lot, it'll be fun. It won't feel stressful.
Cook says her experience at her internship has been one of her favorite times at Assumption. I'm John McCormick, ACTV News.
During President Trump's annual State of the Union address earlier this month, female lawmakers wore white as a sign of solidarity. Erin Keating joined us now with more on this historic movement. Erin?
Kylie, during the nearly 90-minute address, President Trump spoke about a number of issues regarding the country. When he recognized the rise of women in government, he was met with a standing ovation from female lawmakers, all wearing the color white. The House Democratic Women's Working Group invited female lawmakers to wear the color white during this year's State of the Union. This was done in honor of the suffrage movement. President of the Women's Studies Club, Daniela Petrozello, says the year 2019 was a very pivotal year for women in government.
This was a huge year for women in general in politics, because there were so many diverse women elected, and more women than ever before. We have the first woman in Congress to wear a hijab. We have the first Native American woman elected, and there are just so many advancements that have been made. This was a huge year for women.
Assumption's Women's Studies Club discusses topics regarding women that range from national news to on-campus issues.
We have covered things such as the Olympics and women in sports, all the way to women in business, and then also just on a personal level, things that people feel on this campus or have experienced in their personal lives.
When I grew up, I only knew two women who worked. Neither of them had kids, and one of them was unmarried. And so I grew up not knowing if I would have a chance to follow my dreams.
Professor of Women's Studies Lucia Knowles says that change begins within the individual rather than the legislative.
I think it's time for each person to realize that women are allowed to have opinions. They're allowed to state their beliefs. They don't have to smile and laugh all the time. And they can be their own people. And I think that's how we're going to make real change, not just through legislative action, but through personal behavior.
Petrozello believes that this year's movement at the State of the Union is one of the many steps that needs to be taken to recognize women's rights.
Breaking the glass ceiling, making sure that women of all backgrounds are paid the same, not just white women, every woman of every background. We need to make sure that just women are treated equally and seen as people and not just as sexual objects or anything like that.
In the upcoming 2020 presidential race, it will be exactly 100 years since women were granted the right to vote. A century later, and there are now 5 women running for president. I'm Erin Keating, ACTV News.
ACTV is debuting a brand new segment called This Week in History, where we discuss what's happening during this week throughout our country's history. This Week in History, Texas declared independence from Mexico in 1836, the U.S. Mint was created in 1791, and the first U.S. Census began in 1790.
With the establishment of recreational marijuana businesses throughout Massachusetts, our own Ambar Rosas decided to take a deeper look into these establishments and learn more about Assumption's own marijuana policy.
The Summit Lounge, only 4 miles away from Assumption, offers a space for students to study and smoke cannabis.
Welcome.
One of the 5 owners, Lisa Moon, says the Summit Lounge located in Water Street is similar to a cafe.
You can have coffee, tea, come do your work, have a meeting, chill, relax, and just get your work done, and there's not screaming kids running around.
But before you head there, remember,
They have to be 21, and you have to provide your own cannabis.
Moon says in their first year, safety has been a priority.
Not once has the Worcester Police Department been here to break up fights.
Students say they agree about a safe place to smoke. However, they also express their worries about the effects of cannabis on people.
I would hope that they have better regulation, but overall, I think it's a great idea.
Others recommend students to stay safe, especially for those who play sports in the college.
As long as you're being safe and you're following the law, have fun, but just be careful.
Be careful of NCAA violations.
Although marijuana is legal for 21-year-olds, it's against school policy to do it on campus.
Being that we're a federally funded institution or receive federal funds, marijuana of any sort are not allowed on campus.
Some of the repercussions are
Students would receive a number of points, and points for drugs or drug paraphernalia could range anywhere from 6 points and up. It's usually after 10 points where we start to talk about other repercussions for students, whether it would be suspension from residence, suspension from the college, expulsion from the college.
The Summit offers a safe haven for students to use cannabis.
From a mom's point of view, I would rather have you come someplace safe than, using it at school and getting in trouble.
For more information about the Summit, visit thesummitprivatelounge.com. Reporting from Worcester, Ambar Rosas, ACTV News.
As you may have noticed, there's been an addition to the Plourde gym. A designated study area has been added so that students can work out and study at the same time. A table has been placed above a group of cycling bikes so that students can bring their flashcards and laptops to work on assignments while working out. Plourde Recreation Director Mike Rodier says the new addition has been extremely popular with students.
So the Plourde Study Space was a space created so that students could come and work on projects and study better while they're working out. Working out either before, after, or during studying helps you remember material and learn things better. So the whole object of the space was to capitalize on that while providing a space for students to do it.
That's it for us here at ACTV News. ACTV meets Tuesdays at 5 at the Pasquale Media Center.
Make sure to follow ACTV_news on Twitter and Instagram and send us your ideas and comments. I'm Kylie Thomas.
And I'm Chris Van Camp. Thanks for watching.
Chris, this week I sat down with senior.
Wow, better. Yeah, with students.
This historic movement.
In addition,
into the business behind these shops and learn more about
all wearing the color